Alright, good day, ladies and genitals. Bonjour, bonjour, buenos dias. There's a lot to talk about with Cardano in the market as a whole today. So in this video, we're going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what I see happening both short-term and long-term, mention some very key support and resistance levels that we need to look out for to understand what the next major move is with Cardano, and kind of just talk about some off-chart fundamentals and factors that you need to be aware of. So, folks, if you'd like to see all that, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. So, lots to talk about with Cardano. Let's begin by kind of mentioning some key support levels, some resistance levels, then talk about like the long-term outlook and some off-chart factors that we need to be aware of. So, key support for Cardano moving forward, something that I think is very likely to act as some kind of temporary support, some kind of floor if we see a further correction, is the 100 EMA on the 6 hour. I'll tell you why. So we zoom out to this price action here. We can see that last time we tried to pump and dump, we found support on the 100 EMA on the 6 hour. Pump dump, found support on the 100 EMA on the 6 hour. So this has historically acted as the floor once we have corrected. So given that we've had a major correction and we're right up against resistance because we're below historical price action, there's always the possibility of further correcting. And I think this is a strong support level right below us currently at $1.05, which lines up beautifully with a nice spike in volume, which also coincides pretty well with this green support line based off these 3 wicks. I think it's going to be a very important level. So if we do see further correction, I think this is going to act as very, very strong support. Let's say about $1.05, but really wherever the 100 EMA on 6 hour happens to be when you're watching this video or when you take a look. I think that's going to be the key support level with Cardano moving forward. Now, let's say this, upward moving channel, this broadening channel doesn't hold the support, that doesn't hold the support. Let's say we break down further, leave the dollar ranges. Well, I think kind of the next major support level for Cardano theoretically would be 95 cents to about 90 cents. Lots of volume starting to build up in these regions, sideways price action. And if that cannot hold, I think kind of the next major support level for Cardano, I'd say would be about 72 cents to about 68 cents. Lots of volume starting to build up in those regions, and we can see here how it was a previously price reactive level. So those are some of the key support ranges to look out for with Cardano. But I mean, no guarantee we fall back down that low. I mean, I'm not trying to say there's any real reason to think we are. But just, there's always the chance. Now, key support level to try to understand what's going to happen in the short term and what the next move is. Is the next move a leg up? Is the next move a leg down? Because we're kind of just moving sideways here, and we're sort of trending up, making higher highs and higher lows, but it doesn't seem very confident. We got rejected exactly where anticipated from previous resistance levels here. So what's going to happen next? Well, I think the key level to maintain above in order to remain short-term bullish is 13 cents to about $1.12, I'd say. We can see here that there's a nice buildup in volume in these regions. So if we start to fall below this, I think it's almost a guarantee that we retest the 100 EMA on the 6 hour. Now, to see bullish continuation, I think we need to start to get above $1.19. We have a fib level that lines up perfectly with a price reactive territory of 19 cents. Now, where I drew this fib extension, so from the bottom of the impulse to the top of the impulse to the bottom of the retracement, then gives us some fib levels that are likely to be relevant moving forward as well. I think this pitchfork, let's say we do start to break up, will act as some kind of resistance if we start to go for leg up and try to attack all-time highs. This pitchfork will be relevant because, folks, like, we just take a look at this pitchfork. Everywhere you look, you can see how Cardano was price reactive within the zone here. All this region here, support, resistance, exactly where we peak was the exact wall of our pitchfork here. Resistance, everywhere you look, or support, everywhere you look, you see this pitchfork was very relevant. So moving forward, again, if we start to tackle these levels, go for that all-time high, I think this pitchfork will be relevant to resistance moving forward. Now, why is it important to understand resistance levels? Well, folks, we've had a major update with Cardano, some off-chart fundamentals that you need to be aware of. So, March 1st came out, which allows native tokens on the Cardano ecosystem to be created. So, just like Ethereum has the ERC20 tokens, with Mary having launched March 1st with Cardano, there will now be able to create native tokens on the Cardano ecosystem. But it's not only just March 1st that you guys need to be aware of. We have Goguen launching sometime this month, which will aims to bring further functionality with decentralized applications and smart contracts. So very insanely bullish catalyst for Cardano happening sometime this month. We don't know when, but that is going to be a very bullish factor for Cardano. And if we know in advance, if the market knows in advance the exact release date, I would not be the least bit surprised if we had an anticipatory run-up leading up to the launch of Goguen. And if, sometime late March, April, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Cardano reached, $2. But that is not a guarantee, because if we look at our indicators for Cardano, we're starting to see some real bearishness. For example, we had a bearish crossover on the daily MACD. Very no bueno, very bad news bears. Now, we are seeing the histogram start to tick up. So, will it be a long-lived downward correction? Well, let's keep looking to try to get a sense further of what's going on. Weighted MACD starting to tick up. Stochastic RSI, good for understanding shifts and trends, has had a bullish crossover in the oversold region. Very interesting to see. Now, the RSI is still making lower highs and lower lows, so that is quite bearish. So we're not really getting a strong confluence of reasons, but we're getting some signs that perhaps the downtrend could be weakening. So let's take a look at the 12-hour, same situation. Histogram ticking up, weighted MACD on the way up, stochastic RSI on the way up, and regular RSI, lower highs and lower lows. So not a strong confluence of reasons, although the downtrend seems to be weakening. 6-hour bullish cross from the MACD, stochastic, overbought bearish. Yeah, we're not getting a strong confluence of reasons. Although again, the 6-hour bullish crossover is a big deal. It is significant. And if we take a look at the 2-hour, starting to show some weakness. And then the 1 hour, not looking too strong either. So, the macro trend is bearish. We're starting to see some signs of some strength, but it doesn't seem very confident, especially when we go to the lower hourlies. So I think ultimately moving forward, we're probably just likely to move within this range. Whatever we break out of that range, I think will be very telling for future price action. If we break out bullishly, next major resistance I'd gander was $1.26 to $1.27. Nice peak in volume. And aside from that, I think $1.35 will act as support as well as our resistance levels. In order to understand whether we start testing these higher resistance levels, I think getting above $1.19 is a key factor to look out for. As well, looking out for the Cardano Bitcoin pairing and the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing is always great for understanding hidden support and resistance and possible bearish and bullish divergence. We have found support right on an anticipated support level, which I think is a factor that led to the bleeding having stopped for Cardano, which again I mentioned in previous videos. So folks, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. I was saying once we were breaking down after the pump, if we can find a temporary floor of support in these different support regions on the Ethereum and Bitcoin pairings, that's when the bleeding is likely to stop with Cardano, and that's exactly what happened here. Now, if we can find support on any one of these levels here on the Cardano and Bitcoin pairing in the Cardano Ethereum pairing and start to go for that next leg up, I think that will be the key thing to look out for to understand whether we see bullish continuation with Cardano in the short term or not. And again, it's always important to follow Ethereum and Bitcoin. They lead the market. Whatever they do will have an effect on the rest of the market. So let's mention Bitcoin dominance. This is always an important chart to look at to try and understand what the altcoins have within them. For those who don't know, Bitcoin dominance is the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to the total value of all cryptocurrency. And this is an especially important time to keep a track of Bitcoin dominance because we are flirting with this 60 percentile region, which is historically a very relevant, very significant region for Bitcoin dominance. Once we start to enter the 60th percentile in terms of Bitcoin dominance from 50 to 60%, that is a big deal. That is going to lead to altcoins, or at least a factor that's going to lead tell you that the altcoins have more gas in their tank to continue pumping. Now, once we break down below the key level of 60.5 to 57.5 in terms of Bitcoin dominance, if and when that happens, that should be your cue that altcoins have a good chance, or at least it's a factor, that altcoins are probably going to fly. Like, as soon as we see Bitcoin dominance start to break down below this level, oof. When was the last time we were below 57.7? It was back in May 2019, or 57.5. So once we start to break below these key region in Bitcoin dominance, that's your cue that altcoins should fly. And I think it's just a matter of time, folks. I think, by the end of this bull run, Bitcoin dominance is probably going to be somewhere in the low 30s. So getting below these key reasons here, I think is going to be your cue to understand when the altcoins are really going to pump. So it's a very good gauge of kind of the altcoin market. And if I didn't already say, I forget if I said it. I know I probably did say. I always say it. I was going to say, when Bitcoin dominance rises, altcoins typically suffer. When it falls, altcoins typically benefit. But I pretty much have a script at this point. I always say the same thing when it comes to Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, folks. And look, in terms of the long-term outlook for Cardano, I like to think Cardano has a good chance of reaching $5 to $10, but nobody knows that for sure. I don't know that for sure. But what I do think I have a better idea of is understanding when this bull market is going to end. And I do think this bull market is going to end at some point, with Bitcoin late September this year, and Cardano and the altcoins are likely to reach their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin, I think, because last cycle, the altcoins reached their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin. So I think something similar has a good chance of happening this time. So, come September, October, November, that's when I'm going to be looking to scale out of my positions regardless of price. So whether Cardano's at $1, $5, or $100. I'm not saying Cardano is going to reach $100. I think that's extremely unlikely, especially this cycle. But I think $5 to $10 is pretty reasonable. But whatever the market happens to give me, September, October, November, that's when I'm going to be looking to sell and scale out and move into stable coins and get ready to buy the dip and weather the next bear cycle. Because I think the next cycle, I think the top of the next cycle is likely to be sometime summer 2025. And so if I can buy the dip 1 year after the top of the bull cycle, 1 year after the top of the bull cycle has historically been the bottom of the bear cycle. So 1 year after September, October is when I'll be looking to scale back into the market and buy Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, Bitcoin, and kind of like the good cryptos that I think have a good chance of being around over the long term. Synthetics, maybe some Chainlink as well. So yeah, that's my long-term plan, folks. I will be looking to scale out. Until then, dips are for buying, in my opinion. Folks, I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are not financial advice. I could be wrong about everything I say. I don't think I am, but I could be. So don't listen to me, or do you. Bottom line is, these are some of the most important things that you need to be aware of with Cardano. Folks, if anything interesting further happens, we'll be talking about it in our Discord. Link down in the description. We're going to try and have more regular coin calls with our Discord members, where we talk about the market and answer questions. Join our Discord, folks. We talk crypto, and we have very helpful resources on all different matters in our Discord. As well, if you like what we do and you want to support us, consider joining our Patreon. Link down in the description. You get access to our VIP Discord group, low cap gems, and interesting setups. As well, if you have any recommendations of classical music you want to hear in these videos, leave your comments down in the description. I want to know what kind of music you guys like. If YouTube is listening, that is not music in the background. That is an optical illusion. There's nothing to see here. So, folks, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.